Tallapoosa, and there's Bean Island. They had the General Jackson and his troops in the creeks held off the Red Sticks before they escaped. This is a Udall escape. So Jackson ordered Lieutenant Jesse Bean to take possession of the island below with 40 men to prevent an enemy taking refuge there, as many of the enemy did attempt their escape, but not one were landed. They were sunk by Lieutenant Bean's command ere they touched the bank. So Major General Andrew Jackson sent General John Coffee and 1,300 men to surround Horseshoe Bend right on the banks of the Tallapoosa River. Jackson hoped Coffee 700 Tennessee riflemen and 600 Cherokee and Lower Creek warriors could close off all avenues of escape for the Red Sticks. It says Coffee ordered Lieutenant Jesse Bean and 40 mounted riflemen to wait on what is now called Bean's Island in front of you as Jackson's army attacked the Red Sticks. Bean's men aimed their rifles across the river, shooting at any Red Stick attempting to swim safely through cold waters of the Tallapoosa. There's Bean's Island and the Tallapoosa here at Horseshoe Bend. So this monument right here is Jackson Trace, stone marker terminus of the route traced through the wilderness by Jackson's army during the Horseshoe Bend campaign, erected and dedicated by U.S. dollars in 1812, July 4th, 1914. So here's Major Lemuel P. Montgomery. After the greatness, gallantry, March 27, 1814, leading the charge on the Indian defenses. Major Montgomery fell while storming the law barricade. Horseshoe Bend was the first battle, but the 28-year-old Tennessean, already a distinguished lawyer, was among the most promising of Jackson's officers. Major Lemuel Montgomery. There's one of the cannons, I guess they had during the war with Andrew Jackson. It says Gun Hill here at 10:30 in the morning, March 27, 1814. General Jackson quietly then placed a single battery, 1 3-pounder and a 6-pounder. Immediately opened a lively but ineffective fire on the center of the sturdy log barricade. After his Indian allies entered the peninsula stronghold from the rear, he ordered a final assault on the stubborn wall. Red Sticks had their log barricade down that way, down the hill. It says here on the Horseshoe battleground, General Andrew Jackson and his brave men broke the power of the Creek Indians under Chief Manawa, March 29, 1814. It says, while the long roll was beating, I never had such motions while the long roll was beating. It was not fear, it was not anxiety or concern of the fate of those who were so soon to fall. It was kind of enthusiasm that thrilled through every nerve and animated me with the belief that the day was ours without advertising to what it must cost us. So while General Coffee's men took possession across the Tallapoosa River, Major General Jackson stationed his remaining soldiers here in front of the Red Sticks long barricade marked by the white posts in this field. About 1,400 of Jackson's 2,000 men were Tennessee militia, 600 regulars from the 39th U.S. Infantry Regiment. On both sides, tension built while the cannon shot slammed at the barricade. At 12:30 p.m., the drums beat the long roll, announcing the orders to charge. The Army surged forward. Drummers like Americus Hammock, one of the several African American soldiers with Jackson, echoed the pounding hearts of the men as they advanced into battle. Tennessee militia preparing for battle wore homespun clothing, dyed blue or brown uniformity. Most carried muskets and bayonets. This was charged, having maintained a few minutes of very obstinate contest, muzzle to muzzle, through the portholes in which many of the enemy's balls were welded to the bayonets of muskets. Our troops succeeded in gaining possession of the opposite side of the works. The event could no longer be doubtful. After the 2-hour cannon bombardment of the Red Sticks barricade, Major General Jackson discovered some of General Coffee's Creek and Cherokee warriors had crossed to Tallapoosa and attacked the Red Sticks from the rear. Realizing his enemy was surrounded, Jackson gave order for his men to charge the barricade at 12:30 p.m. For a few brief but bloody minutes of fighting raged. Warriors and soldiers desperately struggled to control the barricade, shooting, hacking, and stabbing with muskets, tomahawks, and bayonets. Overwhelmed by numbers and firepower, the Red Sticks fell back to the river banks. Many attempted to escape, crossing Tallapoosa only to be shot by Coffee's men stationed on the opposite side. The barricade was designed for defense. The creek had erected a breastwork of greatest compactness and strength, from 5 to 8 feet high, and prepared with double rows of portholes, very artfully arranged. An army could not approach it without being exposed to a double and crossfire from the enemy, who lay in perfect security behind it. So the Red Sticks militia, a militant branch of the Creek Society, built a 400-yard-long barricade, dirt and pine logs, stretching from bank to bank across the Horseshoe bend of the Tallapoosa River. The barricade protected Topeka, their temporary village. On a dreadful March afternoon, 1814, the barricade exploded with action. Nearly 1,000 Red Stick warriors bravely fought General Jackson's army here. About a third of the warriors carried muskets. Others used bows, arrows, knives, tomahawks, and war clubs. Here I am at Horseshoe Bend National Military Park here in Dadeville, Alabama. Here's the banks of the Tallapoosa River behind me, and this is where the Battle of the Red Sticks and General Jackson's army fought in the Red Sticks town of Topeka, which is that way. And this is it, Horseshoe Bend National Military Park, Alabama. Over here was the village of Topeka. That's where the Red Sticks live. Andrew Jackson's army came in and attacked the village over here, and after the war, the remaining Red Sticks fled this way towards the Tallapoosa River banks, and they were ambushed by the Creek Indians that were friendly towards General Andrew Jackson and his troops. So they were ambushed at the rivers over here before they could reach the river bank to the Beans Island behind us. Well, in front of us, they were ambushed and they were defeated. So this area right here was where, down this way, was where the Red Sticks had their village Topeka, and General Jackson and his army and his, I guess his companions, they attacked from uphill from that way, and the barricade and Topeka, the village, was over here around this area. Then, of course, Tallapoosa River is behind me over this way. That's where the rest of the Red Sticks fled after the war, and the survivors fled to the river, but they were met up with the other band of the Creek tribe that were friends with the settlers and Jackson's army, and so they ambushed them over here by the river so they couldn't escape. Okay, this is tour stop number 4. As you can see, it's a trail that goes through here to the opening of the actual battlefield. It's the stop where it was up the hill from the last stop I was at by the Tallapoosa River in the Topeka village. And then coming up on the marker here, this is up the hill from the Topeka village. There's another trail, a little walking trail that they've got out here. And this right here opens out to the actual battlefield the high ground. The village of Topeka was on the ground below. Jackson and his army took the high ground. All out in here, they ambushed the village, crossed the barricade, and went in attack. So this right here is the high ground. The high ground, which extended about midway from the breastwork to the river, was in such manner open, but the declivity and flat which surrounded it was filled with fallen timber, the growth of which was very heavy, and had been so arrayed that every tree afforded them a communication or cover up to the next, and so on to the river bank. So throughout the afternoon of March 27th, 1814, this area was the scene of a brutal and deadly close combat. The Red Sticks planned to use this high ground as a key battle position, their second line of defense. Here they gathered fallen trees to provide cover to the event of a fighting retreat from their first line. A log barricade or breastwork positioned behind you. But the Cherokee and Lower Creek warriors allied with Andrew Jackson attacked them from behind, crossing the river and pushing through the village, burning huts as they passed. Once they gained this ground, the Red Sticks were trapped and forced to fight to the last or attempt to escape to the river, in which they were ambushed at the river bank. Now, the log barricade was up this way, fortified log barrier to keep enemies out of the village of Topeka. So this is definitely the high ground. Everything goes down below towards the creek and to the village. As you can see, this might have been where the wall was. You see these two ridges here as it goes down. Then again, I could be wrong, but it looks like it. Here's the 5th tour stop here at Horseshoe Bend National Military Park. It says they fought to the last. By Dartmoor, the 800 Red Stick warriors were dead, and at least 350 women and children were prisoners. Jackson's army suffered 154 men wounded and 49 killed. The Battle of Horseshoe Bend effectively ended the Creek Indian War. 5 months later, with the Treaty of Fort Jackson, the Creek ceded to the United States nearly 23 million acres of land in what is now Alabama and Georgia.